philosophical virtue. Okay. So I'm Instructor Cedric. I'm here with Instructor Vaughn, Instructor Ghost, Instructor Key, and we just gonna jump right into it. So let's check in. Somebody throw something out there. Make sure everyone can hear it. Everyone got good audio?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
There was a little bit of feedback on my end from Cedric's mic, I think. But other than that, I can hear you.
Okay. Is anyone else experiencing feedback? So I want to make sure if it's a local issue to your machine, or is it on this end, or something we can address from this side?
It was a little feedback on my end at first, but it's clear now.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. Well, let's you want to throw out some names so I don't see a list, and we'll start with some intros. Give us an intro. Give us your name, where you're from, and why you're here. What do you hope to get from this experience? Okay, let's start with Tori, and so I'm calling people out. Jump right in.
Okay, how y'all doing? My name's Tori Hunt. I'm coming from Pontiac, Michigan. What I hope to gain from this martial art is, of course, to defend myself and maybe learn some structure. And I also seen some something in there about metaphysics. I study in that a little bit. So what I'm saying, I want to get more in keen with that, get in touch with my spirit, grow, mentally, physically, spiritually. Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. So I'm going to write that down. So we have a note of the metaphysics. Because that is exactly what this course is designed to address, specifically metaphysics or the philosophy of martial arts, but how that looks and how it shows up in your life. So that's really key. How do we utilize it? Or it's not just an intellectual exercise. We want to get some utility out of it. Who we got next?
Ray. Yeah.
Okay. Ray, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Ray. My full name is LaRay.
Okay.
I'm tuning in from Seattle, Washington.
Awesome.
My hope is or what I want out of this class is to kind of learn. I have a lot of background in just the study of metaphysics for spiritual reasons. So I'm learning. I'm going to see. Oh, and then I also needed something to do with my daughter. So.
Oh, nice. How old is your daughter?
Okay, so she'll turn 1 on the 22nd. Okay. I think it'll help. I think it'll help with the structure because I'm normally not at home and I'm doing a lot of other things. My background is in yoga.
Nice.
And Reiki. So my aunt is a Reiki. So anyway, yeah. So I'm just, yeah.
Okay. That's great. And I think I heard your daughter chiming in already. So
yeah, she's ready.
Yes, well positioned. Okay, thank you. And who do we have next? Or we can just have someone jump in if you want to. We don't have a list handy. Yeah. Okay. Chief.
Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year. All right.
My name is A. Canham, but people call me Chief. I'm from Nigeria, but I was born in Detroit, so I'm based in Detroit. And I'm here in this class today. I just concluded a 70-day challenge where I had to fast some things like alcohol, drugs, work out 90 minutes a day, read 10 pages a day. So it kind of took me back a little bit to my childhood to where wanted to learn a lot of things and was a lot more fearless. So I'm here today to kind of face those fears that stalled me in some areas of growth.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Like that. Nice. Yeah, I'll leave it like that. Nice, nice. Okay. Okay. I think you might be in the right place. Okay, appreciate that, Chief. Welcome. And who do we have next? Mike.
Yeah, peace. What's going on, man? Mike checking in from Atlanta.
Okay.
How's the instructors doing today? Y'all good?
Well,
What's up, though?
Man,
Yeah.
so to be honest with you, I'm here today because instructor keep told me to come. So, but so since we on this, I would say keep putting that ego in check. You know, learn more about the ego and how it shows up and how to keep it in check.
okay. Read that. I put relationship, ego, and your relationship with the ego. Yes. Awesome, awesome. Mike in the house. Okay, appreciate you making it out. Represent from Atlanta, and we have Adrian up next.
Hey, y'all. I hope everybody is well. And so I am back to class to pick up where I took a rest on the path.
Okay.
And I'm from Detroit.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. We'll take that. We'll take that. Appreciate you being back. Understanding like, hey, it's a path and it doesn't end. We keep moving, we keep growing, keep striving. So I appreciate you being here and welcome back, I should say. And anyone else?
I had to take some time to apply the axioms.
Okay.
And go and learn a little bit and bring them back. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So can I call on you first when it's time? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Mia,
All right.
you're up next.
Peace, family.
Peace.
My name is Mia She. I'm from Detroit and I currently live in Texas. What I hope to gain from this course, continuation, to continue my journey, and if you ever, well, probably heard where they say like surround yourself with the things that you wish to become. So it's time for me to be continue to be in that philosophical mode to get my brain and going and continue on. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay, awesome. Welcome
I didn't
back.
hear that.
Always glad
Thank
to have you in the house, adding on and making the space that much greater. Hero, you're up next.
Peace. Hi, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
Can you speak up a little bit more? You sound a little distant.
All right. Let me see. Okay, how about now?
Okay, yes, that's a little better.
That's better. Okay.
Well, peace, everybody. My name is Hero. I'm from the Detroit area. I'm currently in Southfield. I have been a member of the 36 Chambers in the past, and I have definitely benefited from what I learned. And Instructor Northleg invited me, so I thought it would be good to catch up with everyone and see what you all were up to. And I was just hoping to learn more about what you're talking about in this particular class and this particular time. So thank you for providing the space and for inviting me to come. And I'm looking forward to class.
Okay, so just for the record, the class is all about you. So that's what we're learning about, So we're learning about you, or you're learning about you. And I'll say I'm gonna be learning about me. And so likewise, yeah. So perfect, glad to have you back. Of course, add more, making the space better, improving the space. Is there someone else? Is that?
Yeah, but he said he only can listen.
Okay, not in a position to speak. Okay, cool. So with that being said, with all the intros out there, welcome everybody. Again, 36 Chamber, University of Martial Arts and Sciences. That's a mouthful, but every word is necessary. Every word serves a purpose, speaking to our purpose here in the space, which is why we're standing in front of you now. The path that we're talking about today, or the information we talk about today, is information we are all in this room as instructors striving to learn and develop in ourselves. The hope is that we have enough, we understand enough, or we have developed that relationship with ourselves enough and experienced it so that we can help you along the path as well. And then you can help us. So first thing we're going to talk about is essentially a recap for the people who were here before. We are talking about, and I'm going to write it down. I like to utilize the board. What we call the formula. I'm going to abbreviate it. Well, formula for power. All right. If we were in the space kicking and punching, this will be a physical formula for power. How it looks, how do you attain power physically? Punching, kicking, that type of thing. The other aspect that we're going to talk about today is how this looks and shows up in your life. How does it translate from the physical kicking and punching to what we call the virtual dojo out here in the world? Okay. So I don't know if anybody wants to jump in or ask something. I'm going to start with number one. I'd like to start with is point of balance. Does anyone remember point of balance and have any information regarding that? What it is, number one, what it is, and then we'll go on from there and talk about what it looks like, and we'll kind of flush it out together as a group. Okay. Maybe I should have wrote it with the time.
Point of balance would be your center.
I like it. Center. Anything else?
Well, I think that when
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, just to add to that, was that when I hear point of balance, I think about like where I am, and then I check in with my breathing, and then check in with my mental space, and then just check in on those various layers of just where you are in that point in time.
Okay.
So it's kind of like being slow down, and you kind of do a checklist of where you are so that you can come back to your center.
Exactly. So like Adrian mentioned, center, and you just Okay, yeah, that works. Yeah, just added on nicely. Anyone else? Point of balance and center. I think I'm gonna move these words up a little bit as well. No one else? I'm gonna call a couple names. Hero, you have anything on that?
Oh, I don't know if this have any significance to what point of balance is, but for me, point of balance would be my life purpose.
Okay.
So life purpose.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Life's purpose. We gonna bury that. I don't want to say bury it, but we gonna encompass that in your center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I want a couple more descriptive words that goes with center. I'm moving this up.
Okay, center.
Yep. Point of balance. You have anything on that, Mike?
Yeah, I would say just thinking back, I would say kind of like how people can throw you off emotionally, like you can be having a good day and then someone can say something and kind of it throw you off of your point of balance or your center, or off of your square, so to speak.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yep.
I would say
go ahead.
Focus.
Okay. Yep, your center, your focus. I'm gonna add a word that shows up physically, but you'll see how it's represented in virtual as well. Base. Your base or your center.
Okay.
Okay.
What about your solar plexus? Or your dantium?
I don't want to add that just yet. I don't want to add that, I guess, the energy center dynamic just yet. I want to keep it in this language for now. And as we evolve and grow this, we'll start getting to the energy and the frequencies, that type of thing, energy centers. Because I don't want to confuse the information just at this point. We still build a foundation. That's why we start with the base, your structure, your foundation, point of balance. Okay. I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
so your
rooted.
feet. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. And to that point, just for the sake of how you brought that up, the energy centers, it will be more closely associated to the root. Yes. If that makes sense. But I don't necessarily want to open that door just yet. Okay, point of balance, your center or your base, right? And we had a lot of good commentary on how that looks about getting moved off your square, like Mike said, or getting bumped off your center. Okay, so we're just gonna put a little bit of language underneath each of these. There's 4 of them, and then we'll explore what that looks like in your life. So number 1, point of balance, your center or your base. I don't know if Phyllis, y'all got any other words add to those that you think is missing. Base. Foundation. Okay, yep, I like that. Foundation. Rootedness. Mm-hmm. Okay, the root. Foundation. Root. Good descriptive words there. 2. Directional flow.
Okay, so your compass.
Your compass. Give me some more words. I'm looking for some specifics. Yeah, compass.
Directional flow. Intention.
The direction.
Right.
Directional flow. The
metaphysical.
path.
Directional flow.
The
Goals.
path.
Somebody replaced their battery in the smoke detector.
Somebody said path. Is that what they said? Did I misunderstand that?
What'd you say, Mia?
I like all these are great words, but yeah, I'm looking for some particular.
Directional flow.
Mhm.
Energy. Sound.
Oh, for sure. All this is energy. Remember, I like to always say we're talking about power.
Right.
So definite energy.
The path of that energy.
Yes.
Directional flow. Path.
That path.
Direction.
Path.
Yeah, but when you're on a path or a journey, you need a compass. So you know which
Absolutely.
direction to flow into, which means that you
Absolutely.
need your center.
Oh, absolutely. So notice, so great point. So that brings us back to point of balance, right? That's your center, where we're rooted. Okay. So that's why compass was a little bit, I guess, hey, it doesn't fit directly into a category, but I totally agree. Compass is in here, but each of these, there's 4 components of power that we use here. They can't be separated. If you have point of balance, but you don't have directional flow, you won't have access to full power, maximum power. Okay.
Okay, what about stability?
Okay. I like stability. Again, it lends more to point of balance. So keep throwing out words. I love what you're doing. You're putting it out, and we're all feeding off that. So this is great. So compass, I like that word because it's good. It speaks to direction.
Well, will it be a destination? I mean, it's a path, got a destination.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. But that's another component.
Okay.
Destination is another component. This is the path, and in these terms.
How about how about straight or in an arc or circular?
Okay, yep. So physically, that's what that looks like. If I say, hey, I have directional flow going that way with this punch, I need to be perfectly straight, right? So that's directional flow in the physical. I'm sorry, someone said something?
What about like blueprint or framework? Or we already have foundation, but that's another way of looking at it, like the skeleton, the bones.
Okay, I like that. Because these are all connected, directional flow needs some support and some structure. And that structure is achieved through a correct path or a direct path, but a direct path from my source.
What about knowledge? You need knowledge. Knowledge is powerful.
Oh, no question.
When applied.
He said when applied.
Oh, yeah.
Knowledge is power when you apply it.
Yeah, so you have to be conscientious.
Yeah. I'm gonna put something on my compass and yeah, and a lot of these great words that are being thrown out.
Oh. Yeah, we're fast.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Advancement. Way. Yeah.
Pathway.
Yeah. It's the path.
Right.
The key here. Efficient path. you know. So that's why I like compass. Because if my goal or my intention is to go north, and I start walking south, I can get back to north, but it's just not efficient. So it diminishes my power, if that makes sense. Okay. So, and again, this is an inquiry. So that's why I like all the feedback and all the we're flushing this out and learning it for you, as opposed to me just saying like, oh yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right, brain work.
You know, I could put it out there and say, oh yeah, no, it's this, it's this, it's this. But I want that inquiry, and that we're learning together. We're building it up for ourselves or for yourself, if that makes sense.
Directional flow.
Yeah, and this is the framework and the structure, and we're going to continue to dig into that. So directional flow is that path, you know, the way. Okay. Number 3, point of balance, directional flow, what we call mechanical conditioning. Mechanical conditioning.
Training, practice, discipline, structure. Hey, we don't hit the
More
board.
words, someone else throw something out. You are
Technique.
yeah. Technique. I kind of like that. Let's see.
Preparation.
Preparation.
Mechanical condition.
I don't want to say. Yes, I don't know where it is.
Mechanical condition.
Point of balance, directional flow, mechanical conditioning. Physically, it's how it's formed. If I'm executing a blow, it is.
Oh, practice, routine.
Say again.
Practice, routine.
Ritual, but that's leaning to the left, but
Yeah.
Focus.
okay, focus.
Yeah.
And like you said, efficient.
All this energy from the first 2 and focusing.
Oh, okay.
Single-minded focus.
Yes.
Vision, tunnel vision. Okay.
Yep. The beauty of notes. Right? Because I want to go back and add something to everybody good with that? Mechanical conditioning is focus. We're taking that energy and now we're focusing. Okay. Yeah, and that's another thing that's in there. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Fine. Structure. I hesitated to put it until you mentioned it. Because it is not connected to your base. When we think of structure, it's not that kind of structure. Okay. It is help me out here. That focus, how that focus interplays. Yeah. Yep. When you're doing something. So if I'm reading a book, how engaged I am with that book. Okay. I don't know if that communicates. Okay. Number 4, point of contact. Somebody said something earlier that when it finds. Oh, what word? Okay. what you said it was, but it's gonna unfold later. To that.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I don't recall. So point of contact is, how do I want to word it? I want to translate it from the physical. So point of contact is,
Someone said destination earlier. Is that synonymous?
yes. Yeah. We just couldn't think of it. Yep. I love it. I love it. That's the beauty. I love that you're throwing out all these good words and we're filling this in. Okay. So the destination. So it's the point of contact. So it's not only the destination, but again, how you show up at the destination. If that makes sense. What about the when and where? You want to do that now, or is it less weight?
Could it be a target?
Yep, destination, target. I'm gonna add another word. Relationship. So it's not the target over there by itself. It's how you engage with the target. That's where relationship comes in.
So it's absolute.
I don't understand. What do you mean absolute? In what way?
Like in the way of it's like concrete. Like it's like once you do something, like if you throw a punch, you can't throw back that punch, if that makes any sense. But once you reach that point of that destination, you can't.
So the
But I
point of
guess that's not a
contact.
good word then.
Okay.
But it's along those lines.
Okay. I don't think completion. Is that what you were going for?
Okay, yes, completion's a better way of saying it.
Okay. I'll if we put that in context of relationship, how does that look on the end? How does it look at completion? Does that make
Okay,
sense?
that makes sense.
Okay.
So not going in, so that would be like an extreme view, not necessarily a view of balance. Makes sense.
Right, because life doesn't show up that way. Right? Depending on what your beliefs are, even death.
Right. Nope, you go back and forth. That makes sense.
So I like completion and the idea of maybe it's just the end of that process.
That
And the
makes sense.
next one begins in the next moment.
So it's more of a transitional, not okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but to make a distinction or separate out point of balance, because remember, this is all four of these are one thing. So I want to keep that in context. All four of these are one thing, but to separate this out and distinguish point of contact from the rest is a destination, like we said, a target, but it's the relationship, how that looks, how it looks when you get there. So not just you getting there, but the
Presentation,
what word did you say? You said the where and the when? The when and where. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. And we're gonna go back through this because this is just the framework, just to give us some structure to build on now. Just give us some ideas of what these mean. So we got a little framework to build on, some rails to run on now. Because we're gonna talk about now, what does that look like? We said it's a destination or relationship for point of contact. But what does that look like out in the world? What are some scenarios and situations that you've been in, and maybe your point of contact wasn't wasn't the best, wasn't ideal, didn't give you access to power? And the same for the other three. We want to make sure when you're in these interactions, you have access to power. This is just a recap. So I definitely want some of the students from the first class to chime in here. I don't know if you still have your notes.
It's time to get them out.
Right, right. Exactly. If you don't have them, pull them out so we can
Instructor, I got a question.
absolutely.
So we got the physical formula for power, right? And that how it shows up physically and on the floor, whether, you know, and then you got the metaphysical, how it shows up in your life and like interactions with people throughout your, you know, throughout the day and how to navigate in life, right?
Okay, yeah. I don't want you to go too far though. Now,
All right. No, I was just kind of getting like a attempting to remember myself, like, okay, is this, you know, because it's been a while for me.
yeah. No, because I think what you're throwing in there, we have a metaphysical formula for power,
Okay.
which is different from this.
Okay.
I shouldn't say different. It's not different. It's a little more comprehensive.
Got you. Okay.
A lot more comprehensive. So this is a formula for power, physical, but how it shows up in your life. So
Gotcha.
that's I see where the crossover is. So that's a good point you bring up. But yes, this is the physical formula for power, but we're taking that out of the dojo and how it shows up in your life, the relevance there. Okay. Now, I'm going to come on this side, and can you see me over here on this side?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the separation. This is our structure, formula for power. Now, if I looked at point of balance, we talk about center, base, foundation, root. What does that look like? How does that look like if I say like, hey, out in the world, I lost my point of balance? You know, and that doesn't mean I tripped and I fell. How does that look like mentally, emotionally?
I would say I lost my cool.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I lost my cool. Give me some more words, some more adjectives on that. I lost my cool. What does that mean?
Like I flipped out, like, you know, I got into an argument, like you know, I was out of character.
Yep, I love it. I love all of that. So what does that speak to? Out of character, lost my cool, flipped out. What does that speak to?
The ego.
Lost
Ego.
the balance.
Yeah, yep, ego is always there.
Right.
Because we're human, we can't get away from that ego. Ego is always there. So I flipped out. So what does that speak to? What kind
Your
of state?
center, your balance.
Yeah, what kind of state though?
What
An
kind of
erratic state,
Yep.
Emotional.
Oh,
Yeah.
anger.
sympathetic, oversympathetic
I think Mike said it.
response. Okay, emotional.
Mike said it.
mental,
Yeah, mental. Oh, that makes
Oh,
sense.
emotional loss?
My mental or emotional state, right? When I lost my cool, you know, my mental emotional state is disrupted. Or I shouldn't say it's disrupted. I let it go. I lost control. I'm not centered. I lost my point of balance. Everyone with me on that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, feel free to throw something in if you got something. Come on up. Go. Yeah, go. Okay. My mental emotional state. So real quick, come on out, brother. Someone give me an example of how that your a life example of an experience you had with that. So we can dig into it a little bit.
Did you mean like a time where I got angry or something?
Oh, yep. You lost your point of balance. You lost your
somebody let's say we're in a line or something at the store and someone take cuts in front of me.
Yeah.
And they didn't even say excuse. No, I got a perfect example. At work, I'm at work. I guess it's time to go. So everybody, I'm new there, so I'm learning. The guy grabbed a box. Well, I was doing the boxes, trying to learn it myself. and a guy, I guess he was rushing. I was moving too slow, went in front of me and grabbed a box and just started doing the boxes how they're supposed to go. And then a guy noticed it and was like, "Damn, you ain't gonna say excuse me?" No, he said, "You just gonna do his job for him, huh?" He like, "Yeah, I'm trying to go or whatever." So I'm like, "Yeah, he know a lot of stuff because he was teaching me a lot of techniques to do my job easier." So in the midst of doing that, he grabbed a box and he hit me. The box hit me in my head, but it didn't hurt or nothing like that. And and the guy noticed it again. Was like, "Hey, you just go hit him there with the box." I was like, "Yeah, he didn't even say excuse me." Now this is where I got mad. I'm like, "He didn't even say excuse me."
Right.
And he like, "I'm trying to go." He ain't say excuse me. He just make excuses like he trying to leave, whatever. Now I'm heated. I'm boiling, but I don't want to lose my job. You know what I'm saying? And I started to punch him. I'm like, "But I can't." You know what I'm saying? I need this job. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and then I just went home, boiled about it, went back to work. I said what I was gonna say to him. You know what I'm saying? He tried to be cool with me. I was like, "Bro, I just came here to get some money." He ain't like that. So he got to kind of like loud, like, "I love you, I love you." He don't even know me. You know what I'm saying? So I walked past him. But I was still boiling about it because I felt like I should have did something when he hit me accidentally. I don't know if he did it on purpose or accidentally. I felt like I should have did something. You know what I'm saying? So my pride was eating me up about it.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So again, point of balance. So now, looking at the flip side of that, how could you have handled that situation, resolved it with point of balance?
Just just didn't take it personal. Realized it had to be an accident, and you know what I'm saying, just didn't even voice. You know what I'm saying? Didn't say nothing about it. Like I didn't have to say, "Hey, he didn't even say excuse me." Like in that manner, I could just like, "Oh, you know what I'm saying? It was an accident." Just looked at it like that and kept it moving.
Oh yeah. Just communicating with them, like,
Right.
"Hey, if you're gonna have to show me how to do this more efficiently, or give me some time, or whatever
Right.
the situation called for." Like, "Hey, let's slow down.
Right.
I'm learning. I know you want to go home. I do too. So yeah."
Right.
So let's work together. What do you need me to do? Or whatever. I'm just kind of.
I got you.
Yeah. So again, moving point of balance, because that could have ended poorly.
Very.
Yeah. So I got an axiom for you. Ghost got an axiom for you. Speak to that.
Oh, bro.
Yeah. First action, feelings, emotions.
Oh yeah. Feelings and emotions are great servants but poor masters.
Great service for poor masters.
Yep. Are great servants but poor masters. So it fits right in. It fits right in. And I had something very similar happen to me just yesterday. I was in the store somewhere and a gentleman walked up towards me, and I kind of moved out of his path, but he walked up to me and bumped me and kept it moving. So, the universe is simply a series of tests. So I was either going to allow him to disrupt my point of balance, right, or I was going to maintain my point of balance. So I knew he knew what he was doing, because when I looked over at him as he was walking away, I could see him looking back at me to see how I was going to respond. Right. I could have easily said, "Say excuse me next time," or said, just kind of, So I just smiled at the guy, and kept it moving. I'm still here. He's doing whatever he's doing today, and we're okay. Right. However, if I would have allowed myself to step out on ego, I probably wouldn't be talking to you today. Right. So, especially if you have family and you got children, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to allow someone to disrupt your point of balance and you never see your family again because of ego? It doesn't make sense.
Okay, I'm excited. I got one. Okay, how about when you're breastfeeding and your baby, she growing teeth, right? And so, are you really trying to make it to that third year of life? You know, be like, oh, I breastfed for 3 years, but she keep biting you, right? Because she's trying to figure out. She wanted to test out her teeth, and you like, look, you're not about to keep. Ooh, and then when she bites you and then looks at you, wait, look at you, look at her, and she smiles.
Right, right. uh, so we're gonna start with,
Gotcha.
how did you handle that? And why? So that's good. That's good. But we'll start with, how did you handle that situation?
This is fresh.
Right, right.
It just happened.
Oh yeah, I felt it. I feel it. I felt it.
All right. So the how is all about the breath. It's all about breath work, you know. It's all about taking a second, looking, because really in those first couple of seconds you got to really slow it down. Otherwise, your body's gonna respond. And I have face palmed her a couple times, be like, "Cha," you know, like, you know what I mean? But you know, you don't want her to still be holding on to your nipple when you do that, because she could scrape it. So you got to handle it gently and carefully. And why is because you have to learn how to do that. It's usually the path that, like, I'm the type of person that likes to, I want to learn how to get through stuff, because a lot of my life has been I've just been very lucid, and that's been a blessing and a curse. Because you want to say things and do things and express yourself in a way, but everything has its own time, and so I've just learned how to take a pause and breathe through it. Otherwise, you know, you might go, you might get locked up, you know, or you might die. I'm the type of person to be like, I'm not gonna choose my own death, you know. So if I'm gonna do something real crazy, everybody's gonna know it. so, you know, you have to take a pause and take a breath and think about it. And that's mainly the why, because you never want somebody to choose for you, you know.
Yes, that's so powerful that you get to choose. What is the reality of that situation with the nipple being big, like the big picture reality of it? That's what is occurring for me, what occurs for me in that, in the way you describe that. What's the reality?
The reality is you can't do what you have to do you can't do what you want to do. That first reaction, you can't do it. So you got to learn other ways that is not super compromising on yourself, but also faithful to your person, if that makes any sense. That makes sense?
No, I definitely follow that.
So like faithful to my person, you're not gonna, I'm not going to do something that might startle you and make you cry, right? And possibly hurt me in return. And then I forgot that first part, but yeah, like that.
Okay. I'm gonna add the reality is you are feeding your baby. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess
but I don't know if it's really feeding if you just, so I that's the intention. But then when you start biting me and then laughing about it, now you playing, you know, it's are you really eating now?
Like, do you ever want to give up? Like, I can't do this no more.
I guess I brought it up that way because it speaks to the intention. The intention is love. You can go get a bottle.
Oh yes, that's true. That's true. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of love.
Feeding your baby.
Yeah.
So we can't get disconnected from that, from my
Yeah,
center. That's how we
yeah,
always show up in the world. That's the ideal, I should say. We show up in the world as love.
Yeah, so the base is love.
Yeah.
it's almost dutiful, you know, when you have a certain level of awareness, or when you seek that type of
Exactly.
awareness, you do have a duty to stay
Right.
within that space of love. And that is the most powerful thing ever. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So even in the correction of that behavior is in that same energy. Whether it's in the guy in the store that'll say, "Hey, excuse me, brother, you in my space. How you doing? Whatever. You in my space. Let me get a little space here." Because it is however that plays out. That's from that same energy. And reclaiming your nipples from that same energy too. You know. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Because even if you had to, what's your baby's name?
Her name is Camellia.
Camellia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So even if Camellia did it again, right? And she just might, just because we're talking about it. She did it again.
Yeah.
You correct her, because my wife breastfed all of our babies, and the correction was out of love. She, raised her voice and said, "No, don't do that. No." And it startled her at first, my babies at first, and then they understood when that frequency or her voice said that, they stopped, right? So when you are feeding in that way, it's out of love, but love isn't always warm and fuzzy.
Yes.
Love has this dimension outside of so-called emotion, right? So that speaks to, you are feeding your baby, but you're feeding her not just from you. There's an emotional feed too, to teach her the many facets of love. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That was good. That was good.
Now, Cedric told me that. Cedric told me that.
That's why the other aspect is so important for you to stay centered and balanced in that process, because she's feeding not only milk but energy.
Yeah, she is.
All of
Yes.
your states in the form of hormones and what do you call the other secretion?
Pheromones.
Yeah. Your body secrete besides hormones.
Endure,
And all those
pheromones.
hormones and all those adrenaline,
Serotonin.
all those, all of those chemicals are being fed out. So your emotional state is being fed as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot of that is not healthy.
Dopamine.
Adrenaline is not healthy for our bodies in high doses. So all that is so important. So it's really important to stay balanced, because in that small microcosm, you affect the world. That's
Right.
just a small picture, a small microcosm of how we affect the world energetically.
Wow. I like it. I like it.
Is this your first year breastfeeding?
Yes, my first year. She'll be a year on the 22nd. So
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So
we've gotten
so,
through. Yeah.
so something also happens to your body when you're going through that process, especially with breastfeeding. Right now, it sounds kind of weird, but bear with me, you know what I'm talking about. There's a sensitivity there, especially when, Camellia bites, right?
Right.
Now, she's going to bite again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're working
Yeah,
on it. We're
she's going
working
to
on
bite again, right?
it. Mhm.
And then your body is going to start to calcify. You're going to gain a callus to where it'll start to protect you in that relationship that you're building with Camellia.
That
Does
makes
that make
sense. That
that
makes sense.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's gonna start to do that. Um, that's your body's way of showing there's a physical representation of this kind of love that's happening.
Right. That makes sense. It brings me back to in the womb, the placenta and the umbilical cord, they're both responsible for managing both parties of the pregnancy, baby and mom. And, you know, although baby is going to always be tethered to mom, they never share blood, and it's because of that wall. So I know it takes a while for their energy centers to develop. Like I know it takes a while for these things to develop. So I just never knew that there was um I didn't know about that part. So really cool. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So anyone have any questions on point of balance? How that shows up in your life? We talked about mental and emotional state. That's what it speaks directly to. Your mental and your emotional state. How you manage that. So going back to our intros, I can't remember how Hero worded it, but this is about understanding you, or what someone might term knowledge of self. Okay, this is how we're relating to ourselves and how we show up in the world, because we got a big responsibility in that.
Most definitely.
Can anyone share maybe an example of your point of balance being disrupted, be it in maybe some sort of work relationship or personal relationship?
I mean, I already went. I got 1,000 of them, but I'm gonna let them talk.
Okay. Wait, yeah, I already went too though. Sorry, I already went.
Yep. Let's get some new blood up here. We're not sitting in the background. We're gonna call some names. We all experience life every day, and these things come up for us every day. Yeah.
Oh.
Nobody. We got to call
I go. So you said, hey, look, you said relationship, right?
Is that the problem?
Instructor.
What
You
up,
said
Mike?
relationship.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I would say this. My wife, right?
Okay.
Like I have a certain dietary restrictions I want my daughter to eat. Hey, I don't want my daughter eating Chick-fil-A. Right.
Gotcha.
So she come in the house, Chick-fil-A bag. All she had was fries.
Right.
Still Chick-fil-A. So it threw me off my point of balance. Because now we're arguing. Right. But look, I got a million of these too. So, but that's kind of, for me, that's kind of like one of the things that always throws me off my point of balance when it comes to my daughter and what she's putting in her body. You know what I'm saying? So, and directional flow, I would say it's the energy or the anger that I'm directing towards her for doing that. That's kind of what I got with that.
So why did it throw you off your point of balance? Why did it upset your point of balance?
Well, I felt like I wasn't being listened to. Or like, or what I say doesn't matter.
That's deep. So what I just heard, Mike, is you feel powerless.
Right.
How can you be empowered in that situation? What approach can you take? Because you can't control other people. Right. So you got to manage you. So you don't even have to get into it, but just something to think about. how can you approach that and manage that differently? How can you express or communicate your passion and your understanding, that's key, understanding of the situation to, I'm assuming, your daughter's mother.
Right.
You know, she don't understand.
Right.
Not the same thing you understand.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there because that's key. Because we want to access power, but we're not in the business of controlling people.
Right. You can't. Yeah. You don't know what they're doing when you're not around, and
You don't know what happened when they were in the womb, when they were breastfeeding. You don't know what was going on with them.
And then also an educational part too. I could educate, like, hey, this is what's the ingredients. This is, you know, in that chicken or whatever, you know.
Yep. Grease and you could do a dissertation on that, brother, on the French fries.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can taste the ingredients on the refrigerator.
And the effects of it on your body.
Yeah.
You know?
That is something I probably would do though. That sounds like something
I would. Put it on the refrigerator, Mike. Go ahead and do that. Put the ingredients on the refrigerator and then the effects on the body.
Yeah.
So every time you go to the refrigerator, that's what you read.
And your daughter's next science project, get some Chick-fil-A fries and put them in a container, a clear container, and let them sit for about 6 months and see what they do. You know,
it'll look the same.
You know, it's a lot of ways to approach it, is my point. But the big issue is point of balance. Because how you show up, because your daughter is seeing that, she's learning from that. Right? Your lady, she's learning from that. You know, and it affects everything. And like I said earlier, it affects the world. When you show up on this call, you know, you got a certain energy, or you're not expressing at your maximum, because that's in your space. That's in your aura, and you walk around with it. You know, so you might be that person in the gas station that somebody bump into and now it's a fight, but it's really about French fries. They don't know that. Yeah. So again, it's far reaching, is my point. We have a responsibility for how we show up in the world.
And I just wanted to add that there are some of us out here who they have, it's challenging for them to receive, which is what they would call a directive or an order, versus, so in other words, she may not be comfortable with being told not to do something, right? Versus, I want to share some information with you, and here's why, right? So in other words, I'm gonna go eat this Chick-fil-A. You go tell me this is what she's thinking, right? Versus, okay, that's good information. I didn't know that Chick-fil-A, they have issues with their French fries or the grease in their fries or whatever it may be, but it doesn't even have to be Chick-fil-A. You know, when you share information, which is probably the best way to do something like that, it'll be received and embraced a lot better than, hey, don't use that gas because I said so, and then walk away. So just wanted to add that too.
If we said, hey, instructor Ghost, be here at 1:30 because we got a virtual class. Don't be late. You know, it feels different. For me, because I know me and I'm a rebel, that don't work for me. I'm like, nobody tell me what to do. My mama used to tell me what to do and I hated it, or whatever the story is, whatever the story people have, as opposed to like, brother, well, we got these 10 people on virtual who want to get the metaphysical. And because our goal is to change the world, we're going to start with these 10 people and we're going to run down the formula for power and, you know, metaphysics of life on this class. And we're going to start there. And then we're going to do it again in 3 months.
I love that.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I need your help, brother. We can't do it by ourselves.
That's right.
You know, whatever, you know.
That could also be like talking to someone and not talking at them.
Yeah, that's being assertive.
We partners. We partners. We got a mission that we need to accomplish. And I got your back. And I want to know you got mine in too.
Because Mike, one way that you can approach, and I'm just speaking loosely because, you know, there's a lot of bad food out there, right? And especially with our women have a host of problems with fibroids, right? And so some of the major ingredients in those fries, and especially what they treat them with, is a major contributor to fibroids. That information would be helpful,
Right.
wouldn't it? You know what I'm saying? So if that was on
Right.
if that was on the refrigerator, and they said, "Man, you just gave the baby, you know, a jar full of fibroids." You feel good about that? You know what I'm saying? Then it becomes another kind of care issue, right? That you're bringing to the surface. And it starts subtly, but you know, that information, that education is key.
Okay. I got one. I got another one. All right. So how about you're dealing with a family member, right? There's babies all around. You know, there's babies all around. You're dealing with this family member. You two are the oldest in the room. They're going back and forth with you. They had been drinking earlier that day, and they're steady poking at you, right? So then later on that evening, when you're trying to get something done, they come to you and they start talking at you after they had a couple more drinks. And then fast forward, they slap you, right?
Boy. Wow.
There's babies. Okay. There's babies in the room. And then the 2-year-old hits that family member. And then, so all in these moments, you're keeping your cool, keeping your center. And okay, I won't tell you what I did, but go from there.
I don't know. It's tough inside of, there's a lot of missing pieces as far as context. You know,
Okay.
that's how it's addressed. So it's tough. It's tough to give any insight in that situation because there's a lot of context going on. My first instinct is to say, hey, let me go to this other space. Early on, when I saw it unfolding early on, like, hey, let me I got some things to do. Let me make a run. Maybe I'll come back for 20-30 minutes and I'll go again and I'll, you know, whatever. So that's
Okay. That makes sense. Because that's what I did. But then they had came back after a few more drinks. That was that part. And then they had continued to talk. But okay, let's change it up though. What if you're in a bar? And then somebody has just been drinking more than you have?
So you got something?
I got something.
Okay. You want
so? Okay, I'm talking like the invisible man. I'm sorry. So Ray. So in both situations, we're talking about now shifting that in order to maintain your point of balance, the directional flow is going to be necessary in order for you to maintain your center, right? So in the whatever that situation was, flat.
Okay.
Right. So
Okay. I think this would be helpful to say. What if that person is your mom?
Okay. Well, I still got some. Just bear with me. So in the directional flow here, I noticed that there's alcohol there. The context is alcohol. Emotions are starting to, elevate. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna choose a path so I can still maintain my center and my base, and I'm up out of here. Same situation in the bar. You notice something and it's getting a little too much, and it's like, well, I'm gonna change my direction, right? Because I want to be efficient and still maintaining my center and my base. So I'm out of here. I don't have to stay anywhere. You didn't have to stay there, right? You could have executed some directional flow there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And let me add on to that too, to say now in the context, hey, this is my mother. So I separated myself in the moment from that space or even the bar, right? Separated myself. So now when she's back to equilibrium, she hasn't been drinking. I gotta go say, hey, mom, this is what happened, and this is how that made me feel. This is what I saw in that moment. This is how that made me feel. And without attacking, which is key, just saying
Right.
where you are. You can't speak to where they are. Again, you don't know what went on in your mom's life that she didn't tell you about. It could have been when she
Right.
was 2, or it could have been when she was 42. We don't know. So you got to meet them where they are and communicate, help them understand like where you are and how that made you feel. Because I suspect your mom loves and cares about you. And
Right.
that's who you're speaking to.
Yeah. And you still want to stay true to maintaining your point of balance in the
Yes.
foundation of love.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
what you do to secure it. Because you had to execute directional flow, a path up out of there, right? So that you can
Right.
maintain the relationship. Because the relationship is important to you. In order to
Right.
maintain it, you have to execute on another path just to maintain the relationship. So you get out of there and say, Mom, you know what? I'm gonna come back another time. I see, we got something to do anyway. And then, as Instructor Cedric said, when you come back, there's no drinking. Now address it, but still address it at the foundation of love. And you can
Right.
still
That makes
maintain the
sense.
relationship and stay in power.
Because that doesn't look like, Mom, you did this, and that's an argument.
Yeah.
Right. 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 Right.
That's
That
what
makes sense. That makes sense.
it's triggering. So with that being said, I don't know if anyone has any more thoughts, questions on point of balance. Again, mental and emotional state. Speaks to your mental and emotional state and staying centered or grounded in all interactions. Okay, even if it's a fight, even if it's a fight, I'm grounded and I'm centered. And you spoke to the breath earlier, Ray. Yeah, you spoke to the breath earlier. The breath helps keep me centered and grounded, and I can access power in that moment. Okay, so that's one aspect. We still haven't made it to directional flow and how that looks. So directional flow in life, I don't want to say it. I don't necessarily like what I have. So process. What y'all think about that? Let me know if you got it. Process, directional flow. We talked about path, the way, setting a goal, and the process that you take, or the path that you take for attaining a goal. All right, so process. Okay. Oh, I like that better. I like that better. Let me get rid of this. The brothers behind the scene upgraded my word. Method. method or procedure. Yeah. Yeah. So it's key again, your method or your procedure for attaining the goal. What are we using? We got a goal in mind. We got a target in mind, but what's the path of that? You know, what's the method or procedure that we're taking to attaining that goal? So if it's like, hey, I need to address my mom with this situation around the kids being there and the drinking and the kids learning that hitting behavior. As you said, the 2-year-old came and hit someone. After that, like, oh boy, they just learned that. That's how you engage and interact.
That's our grandma did.
Yep. And that doesn't necessarily work. So yep, so what's the method and procedure? Again, we talked about accessing power. So how do we do that? Okay, so that's what that speaks to. And we'll flush that out as well. I'm gonna add mechanical conditioning first. Okay, mechanical conditioning. What does that look like in life? We're talking about focus. We're taking, again, these build on each other. We're taking this energy, our rootedness, and from this position of rootedness, I need to take some action. My directional flow, mechanical conditioning speaks to not necessarily the path. Directional flow is the path. Mechanical conditioning is what I do when I get there. What do I do with that energy when I arrive? How I show up.
How you walking it?
Yep.
How are you walking it mechanically? Are you walking it like this? You know, or is
Yep.
Sorry, I'm in the back. So, like instructor said, how are you walking this path? What are the mechanics? What does your movement look like? Because there's certain ways that you can move through this construct, right? You can move through the path like, can y'all see me? Right? So when you're moving around like that,
That's your signal.
that's not necessarily the best way to move through the path, especially when you have a purpose.
What's your
right. So if I'm moving like this,
it's a signature, yeah. Like
I'm moving a certain way. It's like, man, it's on a mission rather than just it sends a different kind of message.
So it's not efficient. So it's that focus, like we put here earlier under mechanical conditioning, the focus and structure of that. We're taking this movement from directional flow, and we add some structure to it. So we can, when we show up there, we can show up powerfully. It's very pointed. We're not beating around the bush in the conversation. It's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right. I want to add something. One of the, it's not just the physical aspect. I just want to add this, it just came to me. So one of the definitions of faith is continuous constructive thought. So you will be moving in continuous constructive thought with structure. Everybody get that? Continuous constructive thought, which is akin to faith.
You're not gonna do it. 16. Understand.
Can anyone talk about or give an example of when you maintain continuous constructive thought? You don't have to make up anything. You don't have to make up anything, but if you can recall it, please share it. And what was the outcome? Because this isn't easy. This isn't easy.
I have one to share.
Please.
When I was younger, I didn't break into the building, but the building was open and I climbed in a window. And this was my second time going in there. So I went in there, me and somebody else, and we took a lot of stuff. So the police was in there. So we running through the building and hiding and stuff. And the person that was with me was breathing so loud. I was like, if you don't be quiet. And so I was under a desk and I said, God, if you let me get out of here, I will not take none of this stuff. If you let me get out of here, I just kept saying that, and it got quiet. And we got out the building. And when I got home, I didn't have nothing. I was like, thought about all the stuff that could have happened if I got caught. Namely, my mother just beat me black and blue, but you know, I was thinking about that the whole time. Just if you let me out, if you let me get out of here, I won't take nothing. I won't take nothing. So.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good one. That is good. Yeah, that is good. That's good. Anybody have any commentary on that?
Well, we just talked about it. Right into work.
Yep. So,
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
I'm just adding, our key word for mechanical conditioning and how it shows up.
Can I ask a question about that?
Please.
So, well, I don't know if it's a question or a statement, but it is my understanding that the mechanical conditioning also had to do with like the preparation of your, like from the physical standpoint, like of your fist, your feet, your hands to deliver the blow correctly, or like to, you know, when we were doing the exercises where we hit the sandbag with the, you know, the knife hand or the fist, or you know the snake's tongue. You're doing the repeated action to build up a type of resistance, or a type of to build up the muscle memory or the conditioning in your body to be able to deliver that power. And I think, I mean, I hear you all saying it, like how you show up to a place, but I guess I thought mechanical conditioning had more to do with the preparation of your body, your mind, and your spirit to do that thing, to do what you're, you know, to do what you intend to do. So whatever your goal is or your intended direction. So when you get there, you're you know, when I get to the end of the punch and I'm trying to punch through concrete, that my actual hand goes through my fist goes through the concrete and doesn't explode my hand or doesn't break my bones. I've done the mechanical conditioning enough to prepare my body to be able to deliver the blow with power and intention. Is that a part of mechanical conditioning, or am I putting that somewhere it doesn't belong?
No, absolutely. Let me add a little context to that. In the physical, mechanical condition.
I can't hear you anymore.
Can you repeat that?
Somebody call.
Okay, yep. In the physical, mechanical conditioning is simply forming the blow properly for power. So what if, let me borrow you in the physical, I got chalk all in my hands here. Well, let me do this. Now I'm gonna move this so I don't get chalk all on your shirt, brother. So actually, I'm going to use the wall. I think it'll be more impactful. So I'm executing a palm heel, right? Palm heel should strike only with this part of the hand, right? What if I execute this like this, hero? All right.
Right.
Is that
That's incorrect.
powerful?
No.
Is that powerful? So
No.
mechanical conditioning says I need to form this blow properly for power.
Yes.
Big difference, right? From here,
Yes.
for mechanical conditioning to proper mechanical conditioning.
Yes.
Okay. So how do we translate that to life, right? So we're taking that energy that's dispersed all over the place, that's not powerful, and we're focusing it. Okay. We're focusing our energy to one point, to the smallest point we can to be effective in that arena. You know, because of the structure of that, and because of what you said. So we're going to add conditioning into that, because we practice, because we reflect in life. We reflect. I had this experience, and now I got to reflect on it. So we gain an understanding of how I can show up powerfully in the next moment. The next time this type of situation arises, that's my conditioning. Does that communicate, hero? Like, that's my conditioning in the world. I need to have an experience, and I need to reflect on that experience and grow from it.
That makes a lot of sense. I thought about that throughout life when I was kind of timid. I'm sorry about this, but I was timid, and then I finally fought the guy, and I found out I had a left hand. So when I got into other fights, I'm like, I'm gonna use my left hand, and I was doing good. You know what I'm saying? So I thank the bully now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I get it here.
That's a powerful experience.
Yeah.
Powerful. To thank the bully for helping me to grow
And figure out why. Yeah, I found myself doing it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying I found myself through him, the opposition. You know.
Yeah, you grew through opposition, through pain, through conditioning, right, hero? Through conditioning, we grew. We had a moment and we experienced it, but now we got to take something away from that experience. So that's the key part, because we can go hit the sandbag for 100 years and not grow.
Right. What Bruce Lee say? Board don't hit back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I like that. What I really loved about yoga is that it's taught me how to, like, when I was first interested in it, I was learning how to condition the body. But then when I decided to become an instructor, I kind of got this formula for accessing other dimensions, I guess, within yourself or within myself, which kind of allowed me to then build those ritualistic habits. Like, they become secondary when you're faced in like a fight, or in so just those secondary tools that help to characterize that path that you're trying to like characterize it in a way so that you show up with your fullest potential. That makes sense?
Absolutely. Oh no, it definitely makes sense. It definitely makes sense. Yes.
It all brings me back to the breath.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So we started at point of balance. Any questions about this? We started at point of balance. We started our mental emotional state, to directional flow, to the method, procedure, path, to mechanical conditioning, which is our understanding. Okay. And we'll move on to the next one. Everybody with me so far? Everyone?
I had a question. I wanted to see the guy who was talking about the faith. What is it? Continuous constructive thought. I wanted him to give us an example of that.
Okay, that's Instructor Ghost, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Instructor Ghost. Yes.
So, continuous constructive thought. An example would be if you were to open, if you had a project, right? And your project was to open a business. And your business was to your business is ice cream and chicken wings, right?
Right.
Ice cream and wings,
I like that.
right?
I like that. I like that.
You hear the reaction when I say that?
Yeah.
It can be a positive energy, it can be a negative energy.
Right.
So the other side of that energy could impede upon your continuous constructive thought regarding your project.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But even if you do receive that energy, how do you respond to it? What are you going to do to maintain this here?
Right.
To get to your point of contact, which is the destination.
Okay. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. That makes sense.
Right. And it doesn't even have to be, what people think. They make fun of you. Oh, that's stupid. That shit is gonna fail.
Right.
My cousin tried to do that. All this energy is coming at you, right? But it's about how do you maintain this, right? Because that's gonna be your power.
Right.
You can even find out what are the legal, what's some of the certificates, and I got to go through this, I got to get the licenses, I got to get employees, I got to get inventory. Is that going to impede, once you find that out, on this?
Right. And having the faith to keep it. Right.
To get here. Yes, sir.
Right. I got you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Perfect sense.
Okay. Thank you for asking. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I have a question to that. There was another young lady that was telling the story about how she was praying about not getting caught. Would that be an example of what that continuous thinking too, just in a shorter time frame, because you're like really hyper focusing on a desired outcome, and you're interacting with the creator to, you could panic out, you have other people involved, but you're not. So would that be like an example of what you were saying too?
I would say yes. I would say yes.
Her faith being involved.
She was able to access a power that she was unaware of.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That enabled her to make it home.
Right. Okay.
Is that help? I got a question.
Right. I had a question for Mia.
That's the metaphysical part.
Question for Mia. Have you stolen anything since then?
No, I have not.
Absolutely.
And I remember that event. I remember.
Right.
I always remembered that because I was a teenager, and I was like, dang, I talked to God and he got me out of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I always remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Those defining moments. So it is right in line with mechanical conditioning, because that was like that moment imprinted something on you, and you grew from that, from teenage time to now, and you again access power from that. So yeah, it's powerful. So that was a good question, Ray. That was a good question. Point of contact, right? So We got 15 minutes. Okay. So Hero brought it up in this way. So I like how you brought that up. You forced us to take a different approach. So I like that approach. We're going to talk about how it looks in the physical and then translate it. Okay. So point of contact. Point of contact is, so we're going to do this Palm Hill again. Palm Hill, remember, for Palm Hill, if I want to access all of these, point of balance is my base, right? How I support this blow, being centered. Directional flow, we talked about, it's the path. I'm going to go directly from here, from where I am, to the wall, okay? Mechanical conditioning is how I form it. All these are to access power. So point of contact becomes when I do it and where. So I'm gonna start with where, because I got the wall right here. Notice I'm taking a different angle. So if I'm gonna strike this wall to have maximum power from the point of contact perspective, I need to be perpendicular to the wall, meaning I need to strike directly straight line into the wall. If not, I'm gonna waste power. I'm gonna spill power, so to speak. So when I strike here and I'm not perpendicular to the wall, some of my energy is going in the wall, but I got wasted energy going that way, if everyone can see that. I got energy going, a little bit going in the wall, and I got some going parallel to the wall, going that way, okay?
Right.
So point of contact tells me when I execute this, I need to be here with this palm heel so I can go directly into the wall. I'm not going to go up.
Do the same thing. Okay.
Yep.
No space. He's directly in contact with that wall, opposed to where he was before, where there was space there. Wasn't fully connected or contacted to this wall. And when he changes, full connection.
Yeah. So keep components. Notice what I changed. Did I move the wall? I moved me. So always I moved me. Now another aspect, can I borrow you again, Ghost? Yes, sir. Another aspect is that's the where is the when. So now I'm engaging with someone else. So if that someone else is moving, so if you move towards the camera a little bit, I'm not going to strike here. Okay. I'm going to strike where they're going. Boom. So that's when, and notice the blow I selected. I selected a blow that circular blow that can access perpendicular to my target. That's real quick. Everybody get that?
Yeah.
The where and the when. So that's point of contact. How does that look in life? Right? We got all these other things happening. Point of balance, where it's a mental emotional state. The directional flow, which is the path, the method, or the procedure. How am I getting from A to B? Okay. 3 is mechanical conditioning. We call it understanding, but what am I pulling to focus my energy in that moment? Okay. And point of contact says, where do I do it? How do I show up at that moment? You know, so the situation, Ray, with your mom, right? Or good point of contact, I don't address it that moment. I had addressed it at a different time where it will be more impactful. Okay.
Right. You know,
gotta-
before and she
Go ahead.
said, "Can we record this?" And you know, thinking back, I was like, "What do you mean? Can we record this?" Because we're talking, right? And then I had just given birth to my baby a month or so, and she's like, "Yeah, can we record this?" And I'm like, and so I thought that she was going to be nice, you know, because she wanted some type of record. And then you know, I'm starting to learn that when people have these, so there's different kinds of people. And when people have these, there's some people that are just a little off, and usually they have dependencies on something, whether it's a substance or people, or just they feed off of a type of energy. What I've learned is that there's a part of them in those types of intense moments that kind of give like an out. So I feel like had I recorded that moment and showed it to her, because, you know, I didn't do anything. So I got slapped, right? I just gave birth. I got slapped. And then my niece is in the room. And what I wanted to do was definitely not what I did. But instead I did, I said, now look what you've taught her how to do. You know, now they're watching you. And this is what, you know, I'm trying to speak to her logically. But had I did record it in that moment and played it back for her later on, that would have been more impactful, because now there's that proof. It's just like, now you can't really deny what can't get around. And some people, those types of people, they need that. And so yes, now that I'm equipped, my conditioning, I'm just recording everything, okay? Because it's either that, or, you know, I start striking back in a way that's not very healthy. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Couple key things is you said those kind of people. What kind of people are you referring to?
I'm just referring to people who are working on themselves, or who have may lost themselves. So there's a couple. I have a few theories. You have so those kinds of people. So you have like shadow people and then you have people who are like on paths of redemption, is what I'll call them.
Okay.
And usually when they get to a certain age, it feels like energetically. And this is just from my perspective. In my experience, they're trying to get past something that they can't necessarily get past, but it's still energetical. So it's like physically they learn how to maneuver through life in a defensive way, usually because of this trauma or this thing. And whereas energetically, you know, it's still there. And so sometimes they might develop behaviors like substance abuse, or habitual behaviors with like people, you know.
Let me jump
It,
in real quick, Ray.
okay.
You know what we call those people here in Detroit? We call
Oh,
those human beings.
okay. Well,
You get that? We all have a little bit of that in greater or lesser degrees.
okay. Okay,
So
that makes
I don't know if you get that. I'm not saying what you said is incorrect. I'm not saying that.
okay, because I'm looking at it. I mean, I know they're human. I'm just looking at it from an energetical standpoint.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just wanted to put it in here, like everybody you deal with over the world, anywhere in the world, is going to be somewhere on that spectrum. And
That
we
makes sense.
have to deal, and we have to deal, and we don't like we mentioned earlier with the point of contact. I'm not moving them, I'm moving me. That's where I can be powerful. So I just want to make sure we got that little piece in there.
Right.
Because
Okay.
that way I can be powerful anywhere with anybody. I don't have to be powerful only with certain people who allow me to move them, or who I'm quote unquote, I'm gonna use this word, stronger than, that I can move, or that I can access more power than they have, and now I can move them. But I can move
Okay.
me all the time, and I can be powerful all the time in every moment. So that's real key. Again, this is the formula for power. We are, I guess, digging into and discovering how we access power in our lives. And this is just a framework. A point of contact speaks to relationship, how all these things culminate and interact with the other person. The where and the when.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, that brings me to Dave Chappelle, and he just had there's something that was on Netflix, one of his stand-ups, and he was talking about dreams. And he was saying how he's like, you have to realize when you're in someone else's dream and realize when it's your turn. I'm paraphrasing, but
I like that. Yeah, that's good
Hey,
stuff.
can you say that again? He said what? As far as when you're in someone else's dream, what else?
all right, so I'm paraphrasing because he was bringing up Lil Nas. He was making his about Lil Nas, and he met him. So he was talking about his dream to be a comedian and everything.
Right.
He essentially was like, Lil Nas came up to him at a party once and was like, and was upset with him because he couldn't, because he denied being in his music video. And Dave Chappelle was like, I never knew that there was a music, like you invited me to a music
Right.
video. And Lil Nas was like, well, you know what you did, and walked away. And in that moment, Dave Chappelle realized that he was in his dream. He was in Lil Nas's dream because,
Oh, right.
you know, it's the because of the power that Lil Nas thought he had, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah, and that's a perfect culmination here. So because we just wrapped up point of contact, does anyone have any questions or commentary on point of contact? Again, it speaks to that relationship. Yeah, when and where. Okay, with that being said, this was a very, very, very quick summary of the formula for power. I'm calling it a recap for those of you who have experienced it before. I want to give a shout out to Hero for questioning your understanding of questioning how you understood mechanical conditioning and it didn't line up for you. So
Right.
that always, so I love when that happens because it makes us elevate our instruction and elevate and get clarity on if you don't understand. Because if not, we don't know. We think we're doing some great commentary and some great explaining, and you know, and you got it. And if you don't, you have to speak up. You have to question it because we have to level it up to make sure everyone understands and can walk away with some understanding of what we're talking about.
Right, exactly. I like the aspect of it too is getting the ego in check because whatever we learning in this class, we're gonna have to keep that in check or you're gonna be reckless. Like out here dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You get you know what I'm saying? I just seen a quote on Facebook with something like power like I guess if you don't have like some type of balance or whatever, you're like a good person or whatever, and you come into power, you're gonna be wicked. You become wicked and abuse your authority.
Absolutely.
So I like the fact that you got the aspect in here of keeping the mental and the ego in check and balanced out.
Absolutely. We always strive to show up in love with everything, even in a fight.
Right, exactly.
Even in a fight. It's not about hurting anyone or beating them down. It's about restoring balance. Something is out of balance in this moment, and we got to restore that harmony. We got to bring it back to center.
Right.
I have anything we can culminate. It is 3:59.
So we got
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. Hey, so we went through a microcosm of how all of these things show up, right? So if I could just point to an event that was macro, that caused all of us to go through every one of these things to realize a sense of and come to equilibrium or realize the power. The COVID pandemic. right? In the COVID pandemic, the whole world lost their point of balance, right? The world, global. Then, in us going through that, we had to establish some type of new direction, or new path, or new way to now communicate and still be functional in the world. There took a certain amount of focus and structure. Structures would change. We moved from physical platforms to digital platforms, right? Even here in our dojo, there was a shift. We shifted from having physical students in the space to students in so-called outer space, right? And all over the country, right? Then the point of contact. Had we lost continuous constructive thought, we wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
If you lost continuous constructive thought, you wouldn't be here either. And some lost continuous constructive thought, and they're gone.
Right. That's
Right?
powerful. Right?
They're gone. So that one global situation caused us all as a world to go through each one of these. And if you made it, you have a new power, right? As the instructor said at the top, I didn't move the wall, I moved me. So I had to change the relationship or develop a new relational capacity with now this new world and still remain powerful. So there's a lot in these formulas for power that will continue to unfold and unpack. So thank you guys for joining us. Instructors, you had anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick. So homework for everybody is to drop in the chat your synopsis or summary of what you got out of class today, because we often talk a lot about reflection. And so in your reflection, please drop in the chat, which all of you should be in the Telegram chat. Drop in the Telegram chat your summary or synopsis of what you got today. And I just want to make sure this time and day works for everybody. So if you can drop that in the chat too. Okay. Saturday at 2:00. And if it works for you, we will be here next Saturday. And we'll also drop the recording in the chat for anybody who wasn't able to be here. Yep. And so just, also too, when you show up next week, show up ready to interact. Like the way that we teach is an interactive type of teaching style, is not just a sit and get. So, be ready with examples. And, today was just kind of a recap intro, but this won't necessarily be the substance of the class because this was just a recap. So we'll be introducing brand new information that we haven't necessarily taught in this vein and capacity. So you don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. And if you guys got any questions or comments, just let us know.
For sure.
Awesome.
What'd you say?
Oh, I said awesome.
Okay, yeah, thank you. We appreciate you all being here.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
Yep, peace. Have a good day.
Peace, everybody.
Thank you. See y'all later.
For sure. Next week.
Next Saturday. See y'all. Peace.